How is it that Plants vs. Zombies has been and still is relevant for this long? It came out in 2009. That's 16 years later. This game has been on a generational run for 16 years without any real signs of slowing down. And I do mean just the first Plants vs. Zombies game. I know about the current hot water they're in, and I'll talk about that later, but I'm almost certain you still come across, and have come across, tons of Plants vs. Zombies 1 content.
If I could plant I would, and I feel like this is a topic that's not spoken on enough.
I definitely do. Now, specifically, this game has been solidified so thoroughly into pop and meme culture in almost every single aspect. It's honestly really impressive, and I'm gonna go over why this isn't really surprising, nor is it undeserving. I mean, this is Popcap we're talking about, the creators of Bejeweled, the predecessor to the Candy Crush. To understand why this game is so popular, despite being made a decade and a half ago, we need to go back all those years ago to 2009 when it first, not really. I have the game right here, we can just take a look at it like right now. Starting up, you're already hit with one of the many catchy songs, and a pretty well-made menu, to be honest. I don't know about you, but this kind of feels like a Flash game, but like one of the really good Flash games that you play on your school laptop in the middle of class. I'm obviously not going to go over the game super in depth because, you know, it's Plants vs. Zombies. You should know what it is, and if you don't, there's the door. What I will say about this game is it has to be one of the best tower defense games of all time. It's jam-packed with content. The gameplay is incredibly simple, but it's really fun and addictive. There's something really satisfying about setting up your defense perfectly how you envisioned it, and it working out perfectly. The resource management, with taking into account the seeds you want or need to choose, your sun production, seed cooldowns, it gives a good challenge for your skill and your tactical knowledge. Also, okay, I'm gonna be honest and say Plants vs. Zombies is not a hard game at all. Maybe when I was like much younger and like an idiot, but if you're at least 13 and you struggle with Plants vs. Zombies main story, then you may or may not belong on the short bus, you know what I mean? Yes, this game is really easy, but I think it works out in its favor for 2 reasons. One, which is obvious, you know, it broadens the demographic and the potential audience to young and old people, where they both can find some enjoyment out of the game. And it's also part of the reason why it's so well known and loved today. The second reason is, since this game is really easy and you can pretty much beat it without losing a single time, you have the freedom to come up with your own team and let your creativity flow. Are some of these teams good or effective? No, but they're more than likely gonna work out, and who doesn't like a little bit of challenge, especially when you put on yourself to beat? And it honestly shows, because I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen a video where the person puts crazy restrictions on themselves to beat the game for an entertaining challenge to play and watch. David Christopher Blazing III. What a name. Our neighbor, our confidant, our friend, our love interest? What's Plants vs. Zombies without David? I can say with almost 100% certainty that without David, this game would feel dead. I'm tempted to call him underrated, but I really can't say that since he is well appreciated in the community. He's there to give us his unhinged but very welcome help and guidance throughout our journey against these ghouls. Disregarding the obvious pothead joke, he knows what he's talking about. And like I said, without him, we'd be zombie food. On a serious note, Crazy Dave is an hilarious and perfect addition to this game. And I do think his addition is perfect. We could have just had a normal nothing tutorial text box tell us about a shop, other game modes, and how to play the game in general, but Mr. Christopher over here does that in an incredibly fun and creative way. I can't help but love it. His design really sells the insanity he has, which, let's be honest, if we were in a zombie apocalypse and our army consists of sentient plants shooting pieces of themselves, or straight up eating the zombies, who, mind you, also consist of a zombie that somehow found and operates a Zamboni, a giant zombie that uses a power line as a weapon, and Michael Jackson, our minds would probably go as well. We should consider ourselves lucky that behind his verbal gibberish, he's actually giving us game. Which actually gives me a perfect segue into the art style. Look at the designs for the plants and the zombies, really simple and memorable. Sunflower, pea shooter, potato mine, normal zombie, football zombie, conehead, the Michael Jackson one again. They all look really cool or really cute. Well, I mean, not all of them, you know, cursed with a face only a mother can love. But seriously, the art style may not look like a damn beautiful masterpiece, but it's still really good while staying really simple and not overbearing. They have really simple, recognizable silhouettes, which in gaming is very important. It's one of those things where you don't really think about too much, but when it's brought to your attention, you're thinking, oh, of course. Look at Sunflower, so cute, bopping to the life-giving rhythm of Earth itself, which actually brings me to the almanac. It's really useful to have a description of the plants and the zombies you use and fight against. That much is obvious, but what isn't necessary is adding another description right below it, giving them a little bit of personality. And all of them are really great, just hilarious. Some of my personal favorites are, people wonder how I feel about getting constantly chewed on by zombies. What they don't realize is that with my limited senses, all I can feel is a kind of tingling, like a relaxing back rub. Yeah, it must be a very intense back rub. Or how Repeater is this hard street thug, but secretly yearns for love. And on the zombie side, the newspaper zombie is perpetually always this close to finishing a Sudoku puzzle. Or how the all-star zombie has no idea what a football is. I think it's funny how sometimes we just get this giant breakdown of the plants and zombies' lives or their goals, and then we just get this dolphin is also a zombie. You call it lazy, I call it comedic geniusness. I also find the fact that the big bad, Dr. Zomboss, writes completely different from the other zombies. The zombies write and speak like they're like 2 years old, and then Zomboss, he writes like a college professor. But he also has this comically huge brain, which considering what they're ultimately after, it's really funny. And you can't help but love the attention to detail and care and sense of humor Popcap put into their game. And it doesn't even stop there. Just to spin back onto the music, and oh my god, is it good. Listen to some of these pieces. Best one is the fog theme, I don't care what you think. Laura Shigihara, the music producer, put her whole foot into this soundtrack, and it really shows. The entire soundtrack fits the overall wacky, weird, charming look and feel of this game. Little fun fact, she actually helped work on the soundtracks for Deltarune and Counter-Strike, which makes sense. There was no reason why she had to go this hard on the soundtrack, but we are all glad she did. So when you consider all these things, it's really no surprise that Plants vs. Zombies took off as hard as it did back then and is still relevant now. Seriously, I know I said it before, but the videos, the memes, the jokes, all of it is so funny. It always hits the mark for me. And it's not just me, these posts always have a ton of likes, a ton of views. I find myself genuinely dying at some of these hilarious posts, and I know you, yes you, are too. And even this makes perfect sense because the game is hilarious, and everybody that loves this game enough to make funny content out of it is more than often going to be just as funny. But I don't want to give y'all too much credit, relax. So where's the Popcap team now? Wait, hold on. Let me just... There we go. Well, most of you probably know they were bought by Electronic Arts a long time ago in like 2011, in which EA continued to make more games, and I'll get to that a little later. As for the regional team, Rich Werner, the original artist of the game, and George Fan, the original developer, they went on to make a new game called Octogeddon, which, I'm not gonna lie, I was watching this playthrough, and I actually fell asleep like 10 minutes in. I mean, I was kind of tired beforehand, but still. I then woke up to this, but that's not really relevant here. Octogeddon, released in 2018, a action puzzle game created by the new studio All Yes Good, consisting of the two men I mentioned earlier and one other. Is the game any good? I don't know. It doesn't really catch my attention that much. The concept is cool, but I feel like I'd get bored after 20 minutes of playing. Plus, the art style admittedly does look similar to the original Plants vs. Zombies art style. It has that same kind of flash game passion project, but I don't think it works here as well as it does for Plants vs. Zombies. And also because Laura Shigihara didn't produce any of the music. The public seemed to like it, so maybe I'm just alone in my opinion. Speaking of Laura, what's she up to? Well, she and her husband, the Slamacow by the way, created a game called Mr. Saitao. Am I saying that right? Which I'm not gonna lie, it looks really good and the reviews are very positive. With really the only negative ones are complaints about the price being too high for a relatively short game, which $10 for 2 hours of gameplay is kinda wild. Anyway, she does post on her YouTube channel sometimes, and she streams on Twitch sometimes, but I think at this point of her career, she's probably set for life. As for Electronic Arts, they went on to release a sequel for Plants vs. Zombies, Plants vs. Zombies 2, It's About Time. And it's honestly a really good sequel. It basically expands on the first game in every good way. Tons of cool brand new plants, 312 levels across 11 really cool worlds, as opposed to Plants vs. Zombies' original amount being around 50. And it's an overall polished sequel in pretty much every way. But it's too bad that it's super pay to win and all the new plants look like they were animated by a foot. Still a very fun time. If you haven't played it already, you definitely should, like right now. Actually finish this video first, then play it. Moving on, here's where we reach the reboots. Plants vs. Zombies Replanted. I feel like this game has already been ripped to shreds by everybody else, but if I'm being honest, it's not that bad. It is a reboot, and sure, it has some wonky graphics, and it uses AI upscaling. It has some mini games I haven't played yet, so I'd probably play it. How much is it, like $5? Oh. This may not seem like a crazy price tag, but the Game of the Year edition, which is also on Steam by the way, is $5. So is there $10 more worth of content in Replanted? No, there isn't. Are you surprised? I mean, this is Electronic Arts we're talking about. And just to add insult to injury, they didn't even get the original artist of the original game to work on it, despite him being willing to work on it. It's honestly a shame because the original looks really good for how old it is, and without a doubt, it still holds up today, but it could really use some tweaks, some new content, and a fresh coat of paint. Just a reboot in general, a good one. What we got are a bunch of reused assets, weird shading, and just not great. If you want a full breakdown of the Plants vs. Zombies Replanted and why it's kinda bad, just here's a video I watched, and I recommend you look at it as well. Plants vs. Zombies really resonates with me a lot because of its sense of humor. This game is so unapologetically funny. Its visual gags, its punchlines, the descriptions in the almanac, how they really humanize plants and zombies. It generally puts a smile on my face because I can almost visualize being in the same room with them, coming up with these random jokes to add to their game. And I just know they were laughing down to tears making their passion project. Like, there's a help section that you would find in any other game, and you probably expect it to be like a genuine guide on how to play, but no, it's another amazing joke. I didn't even know this was a thing until like 30 minutes before I started writing this part. This game is 16 years old. I actually can't make this up. I don't know about you, but I feel like games these days don't have that kind of sense of humor anymore. Sure, there's those games where they'll add a joke in or two in a non-serious portion of the storyline. I don't know, maybe I'm just not looking in the right places, but Plants vs. Zombies will always have a special place in my heart forever, no matter what direction this series will head. Hey, do me a favor real quick. Just go down there. There you go. And yeah, hit that button. No, not that one, not that one. There you go. Nice. Good job. Also hit that one. Yeah. Like that, just like that. And you see that right there? Yeah. Go ahead and watch that one too.